Now there is nothing risky. People are dying.
Hello, and welcome to Brave New Foundation's Rethink Afghanistan debate series. Today, I'm joined by Senior Fellow at the Brookings Institution, Michael OHanlon, and author and longtime human rights activist, Tom Hayden. Tom and Michael will be debating the question, can more troops solve Afghanistan's problems? Now, Tom won our coin flip, so we'll start with you. You have 1 minute.
Thank you. I was opposed to the American invasion of Afghanistan in 2002 when I warned that it would be like burning down a haystack to find a needle. I don't dispute descriptions of the Taliban as an extremist fundamentalist group, especially in their attitude towards women, but I believe it is wrong to become bogged down in another foreign military occupation which will result in thousands of American casualties, which will definitely increase in the multiples the civilian casualties of Afghanistan, which will inflame more Muslim hatred of our foreign policy, and which will cost $1 trillion by the end of the first term of President Obama's administration in a time of economic collapse. I think that the President should redefine our mission, our military mission, very narrowly as a holding action until we can patch together a diplomatic settlement.
All right, thank you very much. Tom, let's go to Michael for your first minute.
Well, thanks. It's an honor to be on the show and speaking with Tom Hayden, who I've admired for a long time. And I think he raises some very important points. Let me just emphasize that I believe at this time Afghanistan's civilian population would be far worse off without the international coalition trying to make a difference. And let me underscore, it is half American and half other countries at this time. That will change, of course, with the intended U.S. buildup of about 30,000 more troops this year. But nonetheless, we have a stronger coalition than we ever had in Iraq. And I believe that we have to look at the last 30 years of Afghan history when foreign powers were willing to essentially leave the country to its own devices, or come in, bomb for a while, not care about the population and leave. And we saw a whole generation of Afghans destroyed. We saw many thousands of Afghans per year die in that period. The violence was far worse in the 80s and 90s than it is today. And so I think that we have to focus in on the clear point. The Afghan civilian population will not be better off if we leave. It's true our own pocketbooks will be better off. It's true our own soldiers will be at least temporarily better off if indeed the chaos within Afghanistan can be contained in that country and not spread over into nuclear-armed Pakistan, where, of course,
Michael, that's about a minute there,
so
thank you very much for that. Tom, let's go to you for your second minute.
Well, Afghanistan is one of the poorest countries of the world by the United Nations measurements, and nothing has been done to significantly alleviate its status at the bottom. And our military aid has been about $35 or $40 billion a year since 2003, while the total amount of our development aid, which addresses poverty, has been about $5.6 billion during that same time period. So I think if you increase the troop level, another 30,000 American troops, you are spreading them thin. You're providing 30,000 new targets for the insurgents and the Taliban. And I very much doubt that at the end of this, you'll see Afghanistan elevated from its place at the bottom of the UN Economic Index.
All right, Tom, thanks very much. Michael, let's go for your minute.
Let me say I agree that we cannot stay bogged down in essentially a holding action for a long time. We either have to figure out a way out quickly, or we have to be successful and then use that as our exit strategy. I think those are the real choices. Now, as we saw in Iraq, after 4 years of bungling and mishandling that operation, when we finally came up with a strategy that emphasized protecting the Iraqi civilian population and training the Iraqi security forces, those two goals have helped us now be able to see the end of the operation in Iraq. And whether one agreed with that operation or not, I think most of us are relieved we can talk about an end to it fairly soon. In Afghanistan, I believe we have to do those same two things: protect the civilian population, and then help train the Afghan security forces in a much more robust way, and also be more effective at development assistance in the meantime. But those two core missions, I believe, do provide an exit strategy out for us, but it's going to take 2, 3, 4 years to begin to turn the corner here, I'm afraid.
Okay, thanks very much, Michael. Now you'll each have 30 seconds to sum up your argument. So, Tom, go ahead.
I just want to repeat that it will cost $1 trillion by the time President Obama is done with his first term at the present rate of spending. So we have to look at this very carefully. And just in conclusion, I would say it's important, it's healthy that the national security debate include anti-war voices. And I appreciate very much Michael OHanlon's agreeing to this debate. And I hope that we hear more from the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and other congressional committees.
Thanks very much, Tom. Michael, your 30-second conclusion.
First, Tom is right. We need the anti-war part of this debate to be strong, because this mission may not succeed, and I would concede that point right up front. But let me say a quick snapshot of what I saw in December in Kandahar City with the Canadians. We saw a Kandahar police that there was the first set of units in that country that had been fairly well trained, and they were beginning to get a lot of cooperation from the civilian population. They were getting a lot of bombs turned in before they could go off. People wanted their girls to go to school and not be intimidated by the Taliban, who had thrown acid in that schoolgirl back in the fall. You were starting to see the strategy begin to work in microcosm. I think it can work more generally if we devote the right level of resources.
Thank you very much, Michael, and thanks to everyone for joining us for today's debate. Our thanks, of course, to our debaters, Tom Hayden and Michael OHanlon. Please visit us online at rethinkafghanistan.com for more videos and debates. What's your take? Send us a 1-minute webcam video of your opinion on this or any of the questions posed in our debate series, and you may get the chance to take part in a special upcoming debate. Go to rethinkafghanistan.com for all the details.